Hello and welcome back to Canvas and Pixels by Next Layers. In this video, I'll be showing you how to resolve a project that is poorly executed in Adobe InDesign. If you are ready, let's do this. Welcome back. If you have not seen my video where I explain how to start a book layout from start to finish, please refer to the link in the top right of this video or check in the description below. Now, if I take a scroll through this document, you will notice that this person is trying to create like an idea of a book, but is approaching it the wrong way. Why do we need to learn this way? I have only showed you how you can start how to lay your book from Microsoft Word to Adobe InDesign. But in this case, the scenario is a bit different. What happened is that you have someone who has worked on the book but didn't do a good job. Now, let us address some of the things that were not properly done. Number one, I noticed this person came out with a lot of ruler guides here and there. The margin is also small. I mean, this is the margin, it's very small. I I noticed that the text frame is not also sitting properly in the text area. Let me go from the beginning and then we can. Now, you can also see lack of consistency even in the text area. You will notice some are small. Then you notice some have some level of spaces. All right. Let me scroll down. You'll notice the content page is even having a kind of wider space for text area. So a lot of inconsistency. The second thing I notice is the way this person has done the numbering. Look, I can click on it and I can move it around. I could tell when I saw it, I could just tell that that's what the person has done. Normally, when you set up your numbering, you are setting it up on your master page and not on your main page. The reason is very simple. Whatever you are going to apply to all the pages is done on your master page. I could also see that this person has manually set up headers, right and left headers. They have set it up manually. I noticed that when I checked it from beginning, I noticed that the texts are not linked. Let me show you what I mean by the texts are not linked. Now, you could see this tiny square not linking to this, and this is on its own. This is also on its own, and then when it got to forward, this, because this square is having like a small triangle inside, I could tell that it is linked to this place, and then it stopped here. Now, this is the way to even know this. Very easy. I will go to my view menu, extras, and then I will say show text thread. Now, if I click on it, I can tell that this is not linked to this one. I'll keep clicking. Then when I got here, I noticed that this is linked to this, and then it stopped. All right. Again, this is linked again, and then it stopped. He started all over again. Then he got to chapter 1, linked it, and then of course chapter 1 went till the end of chapter 1. That's not the way we work in InDesign. All right. All the texts are supposed to be linked together, and then we're able to work on it as a single document. I also noticed, I wanted to show you one more thing I noticed. So I noticed that for some cases, he removed the title of the page and took it out from the text frame. And in some other cases, look at this one, it's with the text frame. All right, I just do Ctrl-Z. So a lot of inconsistency is in this document. So my question is, how do we resolve this issue? How do we resolve this issue? First of all, we have to link each of the text frame together. Yes, I want to make it a single document. So how do I do that? I come from the beginning. This person starting on copyright, so I'll click on this. Click on this tiny square, and then click on the next one. Now you notice that this has been linked now, and I'll repeat that for every other sections. Now don't mind whatever happens now, it doesn't mean, and I'll continue that. All right, from one section to another. Now in the case of this, I'll have to manually copy it or cut it. I'll say Ctrl A and Ctrl X for cut. All right, I came back to this text frame and then paste. My paste is Ctrl V. All right, then I continue to link it. I just need everything to be a single document. You just repeat the same step for everything you are doing, and then we can take it up from there. Now look at one other interesting thing I noticed about this person. Let me press Ctrl Z, undo, and I just tap my escape key. I noticed that this is supposed to be inside the table, but what this person has done is to manually create a box and then draw lines. I can delete it so that you see what I'm saying. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Now, InDesign is one of the best places to work with tables because InDesign sees tables as text. Oh yes, even though it's inside that box, InDesign still sees it as text. All right, so I'll go back and then continue to link the pages. I want it to be a single document. That's the goal. So instead of keeping you waiting while I do this, I will just resolve everything and then we'll get back to it. So all the pages has been linked. You can still see the interference of some of the funny table that this person created, but that's not an issue. We'll resolve it. Now, before we proceed, I wanted to show you what I ended up turning it into, and that's what we want to demonstrate in this video. Check it out. Look at what I turn it into. From that one to this, I was able to pick element from the cover, choose the right size for the book, lay the tables properly on, and then I noticed that at the end of each chapter there is final word on every chapter, and I was able to style that one separately. Are you ready? Let's proceed. So now that I've succeeded in linking all the videos together, we need to start resolving the issues one after the other. Now, at the beginning of this project, I requested from the client what size will he like to use for this project. So my client mentioned that he would like the book to be in 6 by 8.6. Will I choose a dimension like that? Absolutely not, because I could tell that is a perfect A5 size. But since that's what my client wants, the first thing we're going to do is to switch to that size. I'll go to my master A by double clicking master A. All right, I will remove this guide. We don't need it. We don't need all that. We are not in Corel Draw. All right, so I'll go to file and I come to document setup, and then I switch to the size that my client wants, 6 by 8.6. all right, please note that this is in inches. I could see IN everywhere, so I could tell that this is in inches. All right, so I'll click OK. That's the first step. I want to remove this second line. The next thing I'm going to do is to try and just create a better margin. All right, I'll go to my layouts, margins and columns, and then now some of the figures I'll give now I can modify it. All right, and as we continue, you'll see that it is easy to modify. I'll say my inside should be 0.75, outside should be 0.75. I'm thinking that that's too much, so I can reduce it to 0.7. I can keep my bottom to 0.72, and then because I want my running headers to be at the top, let me say 0.9 for now. All that can be adjusted as we proceed. All right, so after doing this, my next point of action is to come back to my pages. I'll double click on maybe 2 and 3 or any other page. You can notice that things are beginning to mess up, but don't be bothered about it. All right, I'm going to copy this text. What I did is to double click inside the text frame and press my Ctrl A. Ctrl A is select all. I will cut. Ctrl X or Command X is cut if you're on Mac. Then I go back to my first page. I can still see one more line that I don't need. I'm thinking it should be on the master page, so I'll remove it. We don't need all those lines. They are not necessary. Because, baseline grid makes you do a lot of things and makes it perfect. So you don't need all that. So now after I've done all that, I've copied all the text, and I will select from page 2 to 3, scroll all the way down to the last page, hold down my shift, click on the last page and delete. Now what I've succeeded in doing is to create a new framework, or let's say a new page size. All right, so how do we proceed from here? I will click on this and create a rectangle frame, and then select my text tool to turn it into a text frame. All right, I will paste. Paste is Command V or Control V if you're on PC. Now you notice that we have this red square with an addition sign inside. That is telling us that we still have some text that we need to chunk out. So how do we get that done? I will insert another page. All right, and then just click on that tiny box, come to the second page, hold down my shift. When I hold down my shift, it means I want it to autoflow, and then click. Now pages will be inserted. See now if you check this, all our pages are linked. All our pages are linked, and I'm not supposed to be worried about that again, because that's supposed to be the right thing. All right, so let's go back to the beginning of the page, and then we want to start styling this. Now if you have watched any of my previous video, you will notice that what we'll start doing now is to start creating character style and paragraph style. But there is another way to bypass doing this, and if you have not seen that video, please click on the link that is showing on the top right now, or check in the description below. There is a video where I took time to teach on if you are starting again and you have already defined a style in some other works, you don't need to start defining it again. So I'm going to use that method. I will come to my paragraph style or character style anywhere, click on the top right of that paragraph panel and say load paragraph styles. That's what I'm going to do. All right, don't forget that I've worked on this book before, so I'll just look for that same title. I think this is how to pitch your business, and I'll click open. When I click open, I wish I can expand this better. I will uncheck all. I just want to pick some specific things. I'll pick page starter, chapter number, chapter title, body text. I don't know what I call this, so I'll pick table text, body first, pick list style, before final word. I don't know what I define for that. Final word, if I need it I can bring it back again. Final word shaded, ISBN, lines. What else? I think that's all that I need. If I need any other thing, I can follow the same process to bring it back. I'll click OK, and guess what? You are done creating several paragraph styles. And then okay, we can go and bring character styles too. I'll say load character styles. I'll pick the same file. I click OK, and then again I will check all because I don't want to pick everything, and then I'll go and look for character styles. Look at them: bold, italic, and I think I want small caps. Oh yes, I'll click OK. Now I mean, this has helped us to bypass a lot of stage. You won't have to start from the beginning again, and this is a time-saving method. All right, again, you can refer to that video. It will help. Okay, so let's proceed. Now we want to start styling. Let me save. I will press my Control F for find, or Command F. I will search for all local formatting that is in bold, and then change it to our own character formatting. I'll change all. Imagine over 300 is changed at once. That's the beauty of InDesign. I will look for another local formatting that is italic, and then change it to a character formatting that we define that is italic. Change all. I'll proceed again to repeat the same step. Look for local formatting that is bold and italic. click OK, and then change it to what we have defined, and then change everything. And one more thing before we move to our grep style, I will check the paragraph style, the paragraph style that is applicable to this. And I notice it's showing basic paragraph. You know why it's showing basic paragraph? The person who worked on this project before did not even know that there are anything called paragraph or character style in this place, so he did not define anyone. See what he was doing? He will highlight like this, and then come here, and then choose Times New Roman, do all the formatting, as if he's using Microsoft Word or he's using Corridor. But InDesign is far more intelligent. All right, so let's continue. So I'll say find, that's Command F or Control F on Windows. I will look for basic paragraph, because that's what this is. I'll click OK, and then change it to body text, which is the style that we want. I will change everything at once. All right, I will remove that. Now we can apply some grep styles defined for you already. You can say dash to end dash, can change all, font 12, and then multiple return to single return. That's a lot, over 800. And then the last one. All right, so now something is obvious. The spacing between our text is too much, and I can tell you the answer without even checking: baseline grid. And I can also tell you where that issue is meant to be resolved, because if you check our body text, if I right click on it and I say edit, we have an incremental of 16 points, and then our space after this is also 16 points, but it's converted to inches. The only thing that is missing is the grid setting under our preferences. Let me show you that quickly. Go to your edit if you are on Windows. If you are on Mac, you just go to preferences straight. All right, so I come to preferences on Windows, I'll say grid, and then change this from 12, because that is showing 12 incremental instead of 16 incremental space. All right, so I'll say 16, and I'll tap OK. Everything back to normality. Don't you just like InDesign? It just makes life simple and easy if you understand how to work with this software. All right, so let's proceed. What I usually like to do for my first page is to remove this one, because I'm going to bring the cover layout to this page. So I'll press my delete, and then it will just automatically come to page 2. Then I can start, formatting. Don't forget we're in InDesign. Dedication will be page starter. Now you can see that this has been formatted before. All right, you can refer to that video in my description below to see how all that is done. Both the first video that I spoke about how to lay a book from start to finish, that is very, very detailed. I took time to explain everything one after the other. Or you refer to the second one that taught you how you can bypass creating things all over and over again. All right, so you can quickly apply, and then of course apply page starter, and then this will have body first. I mean, isn't that easy? Look, we didn't have to break this into smaller boxes. Most of those boxes were even inconsistent, and I mean, we're able to do something good. All right, that's the way it should be. I'll turn this to 0, and then turn this to 0. Then I wanted to show you something quickly. Now, I don't like this line. I understand what this person is trying to do. This person is trying to say this review has finished, and then this is the beginning of another review, but we could do something better. So let me show you quickly. I will highlight all this and delete. All right, I want to clear everything. Press my enter just once. Go to my type menu and come to glyphs. All right, let me try and expand this a bit. I'm just going to pick something interesting there. Let me see if we can find something under Adobe Caslon Pro. You can change the font here, look. But I wanted to see if I don't have to change the font to even get something good. Look, this caught my attention. Adobe InDesign will usually save something that you have used before for you, so I don't even want to stress myself. It's either I pick this one or I think I like this one, so I'll just double click to bring it out. Look, let me show you. I can zoom it. All right, that's better. I'll click here and then keep it at the center. All right, so anywhere a review stops and I wanted to put another one, I can just highlight all this and then paste. What I did was to copy the previous one and paste it. I can remove all these lines so that we can keep it together. Now these are just, doing cleanups and then making sure that everything is looking fine. So I don't want to waste your time, so I'm just going to skip some of the portion. Now something caught my attention. I saw this dash. Don't forget that I've changed all dashes to N dash. But sometimes, in searching for them automatically, sometimes you just see one or two like this that InDesign miss, and then you can, use find and replace to fix them all. So I'll copy, Command C or Control C, and then I will find Command F or Control F on Windows, and then delete this. Click on this, go to your markers and iPhone and dashes, and say N dash, and then you can change all over 200 at the same time. InDesign is just amazing. I'm not sure you find any other software that is that intelligent. All right, so I don't want to bore you. Doing everything one by one. I'll just do table of content here and leave it. And I'll come back to it. The next page I wanted to move to is where you have our chapters. Now you have chapter number, chapter title, and then I would like to style this as body first. Now, normally I could click one by one like this and say chapter number, chapter title, and then body first. But I know I would normally not do that. What I would do is to edit my chapter number and then say the next style will be chapter title. All right, you see that I have set everything, and come back to my chapter title, edit that, and set my next style to be body first. So if I want to apply this, instead of clicking 3 times, undo, and undo, that's Ctrl Z multiple times, I will highlight from here to here. Right click on chapter number. Chapter number is the first style, followed by chapter title, followed by body first. All right, so I will right click and say apply chapter number, then the next style. Isn't that faster? I noticed the one other thing that I did was to remove all the word chapter, and then I don't want it to be bold, so I will right click and say clear to keep it like so. And that is what I did for every other chapter, one after the other. Now, you'll notice that I'm skipping so many things because I wanted to address something that is important. If you want to see a detailed video of how to walk through this, I will advise that you go back to that video where I describe how to lay a book from start to finish. I took time for that one, so I assume that you have an understanding. Did you recall this portion that this person laid this? It was supposed to be a table, but what he did was to get rectangle tool, draw it over it like so, and then get the line to draw it one by one. That's so stressful. I'll just undo. I am sure that this came as a table from Microsoft Word, but when you don't know how to style table in InDesign, what you will do is to just try and improvise. So what I want to do is to insert a table. I'll go to table menu, and then table, and I say insert table. I will say 2 rows and 2 columns. Now this is what we get. One by one, I will have to copy and paste. Now this is not what I should be doing, because normally this will come from Microsoft Word as a table, and you will not need to go through all this stress. All right, but since this person has worked like this, we will have to go through this stress. I will jab my tab again. Every time you jab your tab multiple times like that, InDesign we insert a new, I think that's called a row. Yes, it's a row. Sometimes I mix this thing up. I'm asking myself, which one is a row, which one is a column? All right, so I'm just going to style only this one, and then I won't need to style the other ones because I don't want this to be a long video. All right, so let me get the remaining. Okay, it's remaining one. Fantastic. So that's fast. All right, so good. So this is our table, and I wanted to quickly show you something amazing very, very quickly. Now, the first thing you will notice is that this is sitting on a baseline grid. The question is, how did I know? The texts are not close to each other. One. Number two, the text is not also sitting at the middle of the table. So I could tell that the text is sitting on the baseline grid. Let me show you view, grids, and I'll say show baseline grid. Now, did you see what I'm saying? Every of the text is trying to sit on a baseline grid. What I usually do for my table text is, look at it. Let me edit it, because this has been pre-styled, so I have to show you what I would normally do. I'll come to my indent and spacing, and then remove the baseline grid. I'll say none. All right, I don't want baseline grid for my tables. Look, if I select, when you want to select your column, you can come on top of the column like so, and then you notice that arrow showing. When you click, every column is selected. When you want to select your row, you come to one side like so, the row is selected. But what if you want to select the entire table? Come to your edge like this. You have to position your mouse in a funny way that will show. Once that shows, it's ready to select all your tables. So once you click, the entire table is selected, and I will apply table text. Now, did you notice that? Everything just shrink. Let me knock off my baseline grid. We are still coming to resolve this. I can see space, and I can see space at the top. I will resolve it. All right, so let me remove my baseline grid. It's kind of interfering with my face. Say grids. I'll say hide. Now that is hidden. Look, if I go to preview mode is W. This is not the kind of table I want to do. I want a table that is properly styled. All right, so how do I style my table in InDesign? I will select all from that angle, right click on the table, or I can start from here, and I'll say select all. I don't want any line. For my tables, most of the time I don't want lines. All right, so I will knock it to 0. What I've done is to remove the outline. I've removed the outline. All right, and I'll right click on it and say table options. I can do alternate row. I can do alternate field. Let's do alternate row first, even though I've removed it, but let's do it. All right, so I'll say I want every other row. I want my first row to be included. It's asking me what's the weight of the first row you want. Let me say 2 for this, and then I will say 0.7 for the other one, so that you can see the difference. All right, and I will color one. This one I'll make it gray. I'll say black, but I want the tint to be, say, 30%. I'll keep the other one as 100%. I'll say okay. Look, let's preview. W. Isn't that different from what you saw before? All right, but I can even style this in a better way. I will repeat the same step, select everything, right click on it, go back to table options. Let me go to my row options because I want to remove it. I'll say none, and then go back to fill, and then say alternate fill. I want the first one to be, let's say 6, and I want the second one to be a bit dark, let's say 15, and I click OK. Look, let me remove the outline. All right, when I go to preview mode, isn't this better than what we saw before? All right, you just see that InDesign can make life very easy. Instead of you trying to draw it one by one, you don't need all that. InDesign can just make everything easy for you. All right, so there are other tables on this project, and I don't think I need to go through all of them one by one. It's the same method to fix all the tables. All right, so let's proceed. Now, recall I mentioned to you that when I check out all the chapters, every chapter ended with this final word, and I wanted this text to be different from every other text. So I think I styled something I call final word. Yes, let me click. All right, I will show you what I did. Then I think I created final word shaded text. All right, let me move you to the next page. It's just a way of demarcating from the regular text and what final word is giving us. Final word is like a summary of everything that happened in that chapter. Now let me show you what I did. I think I'll edit final word. The first thing I did was to change the font. All right, and I gave it a tracking of 50, and I think I did one more thing. Underline. I gave it underline. Let me zoom it, because you may not see it if I don't zoom it. The other thing I could do is to change the color of the underline. Let me edit, and then I came to underline. I created something like a strike through. That was what I did. Look, let me change the color and then bring it up. I'm sure you can see that now, but I made it kind of light because I don't want it to interfere with the text when you are reading it. So what I did was to give it a weight of 6 and then an offset. The offset will take it back up. I can change the type of style of the stroke, but I think that is okay. All right, that was what I did for final word. And for the text, all right, let me show you. I edit. I am sure I gave it paragraph shading. Yes, I said it should be 10%. I gave an offset of top and bottom. That's why you saw that space. And I think I must have added border. Let me see. Border. Sometimes we are looking for this thing and it's funny. Paragraph border. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. All right. So you notice I gave it a border. And I remove every other side except for left. I want the tint to be 40, and then the weight is 5 points. I can increase it for you to see. All right, and then I change the style to this. I can make it this. Did you notice that is square? This one is curvy, and I think I prefer that one. And I think that's all I did. Yes, that's all I did. So that's how I style this. You could create further styles as you wish. All right, let me see another thing that I wanted to call your attention to, and then this can wrap up on time. You notice that I wasn't taking time to style it all over again. This is also another table that you have to carefully fix back because someone messed it up. All right, I think I remember that I added like a glyphs before this. Remember I showed you how to add the glyphs. If you come up here, something like this. All right, that was what I did. So for us to wrap this up, I think I just wanted to check baseline grid, and then I think the running headers and how to add big numbers. Again, this is not intended to be a very long video, but I felt it's important that I showed you this because you may have a situation where you didn't get Microsoft Word document. What you have gotten is an InDesign file that is not properly done. So let me enable my baseline grid. I go to view. I will come to grids and guides, and I'll say show baseline grid. Now what I want to correct is the beginning of our text frame and then where it ends. Normally it's supposed to sit on the baseline grid. And don't forget, when you need to adjust anything that is applicable to all your pages, you go to just one place, your master page. So for me to resolve this, I'll get to my master page. I just double click. All right, and then I will zoom it. I wanted to know the height that is left. That is from this pinkish kind of line to the bluish one. All right, I'll just drag like so, and this is the height that I'm looking for. I'll copy it, Ctrl C or Command C, go back to layout, margins, and then I will add to it. Just tap plus and then paste that number. All right, I'll click OK, and then that is sitting on the baseline grid. Ctrl 0 or Command 0. I will do the same thing for the space down. All right, what I want is I will prefer that this is sitting somewhere here. So I'll drag from that pink line to the blue line again, copy the height. All right, I can delete this because really I just put that there to get the height. Go back to my layout menu, margin, and then on the bottom I will subtract. I'll paste the number and then click OK. You can see it's sitting properly on the baseline grid now, but I want to go and check my page. Let's see whether that has happened. Now you can tell something happened. Our text frame did not move with what we did. I intentionally did this so that I can show you something. Now anytime you go back to your layout, margins, don't forget that you're supposed to be on your master page and you want to adjust these margins, please select this option. That's adjust layout. Otherwise, what happened now is what's going to happen. So the question is, you have made this mistake, how do you resolve it? Very, very easy. Double click here, anywhere in the text frame, Ctrl A or Command A to select everything, Ctrl X or Command X. All right, and then you go to your first page. All right, I will right click on my first page and say insert page, and I'll say I want page before page 1. This is saying insert one page before page 1 and let it be parent A in case you have multiple master page. So I'll click OK, and then I'll double click on 2 and 3, scroll all the way down, hold down my shift and click the last page and then delete. All right, what I've done now is to delete all the pages with inappropriate text frame. All right, so what I'm going to do now is now create a text frame again. I can use this. All right, I'll click and then make sure it fits exactly into the shape that we are trying to target. Select my text to and click inside. It converts it into a text frame. All right, so I will do Command V or Control V to paste. You will notice that I kept that text all along. I make sure I didn't have to do any of that Control C or Control X, because once you do that, it will overwrite the one you have copied. So what I've done now is to add another page. I just come down here and click the addition sign. Go back to this page, because if you look at it, we can see this small tiny red square that is telling us that we still have a text overset. All right, so I'll click on it. I'll hold down my shift and then click. Now the idea behind holding down your shift is you are instructing InDesign to Autoflow. It will not only insert the pages, all the text will be flowed into the other pages. All right, so let me quickly address just a few more things and then we can wrap this up. I will delete that, which is what I usually like to do. My copyright page text is usually smaller. If you check every book you see, the copyright page has a smaller text, so I will highlight like so. I have a style for that already and click on it, and then you see the way it is, but I don't usually like this center arrangement, so I can change it to left and then tell it to redefine style. Sometimes that's how you redefine style. So now InDesign understand that that is not center alignment again. And then to position it to the bottom, I'll click on this text frame, press Ctrl B, that is text frame options, and then align it to the bottom. Yeah, that's how to do it. I'll click OK. Let me go back to my master page. You will recall that our friend who worked on this book initially did numbering manually. also did running headers manually. Now InDesign makes life easy. You don't need to do page numbers and running headers manually. So how do we resolve that? I will just come to my master page like I've done before by double clicking on master A, and then grab my text tool. All right, if I want my numbers to be here, I will just draw like so with the cursor inside. I'll go to my type menu and I'll come to special characters, markers, and then current page numbers. All right, or you can skip all those steps and just press Ctrl Alternate Shift N. I mean, it's the same thing. All right, so I mean, you can style this the way you want, but to make it fast, I will just usually use my body text. All right, now you notice that the text left, and I can tell you why. I can tell you why, because he wants to sit on the baseline grid. So what I would normally do sometimes is to try and adjust the text frame like so. Now I think I chose something wrong. Apologies for that. So let me highlight and then choose body text. What I did was to choose body first. Now my body first is having a drop cap. All right, so I mean it's supposed to be body text. Okay, maybe I'll reduce the font size a bit, just something slightly smaller. All right, now for us to add a running header, I'll grab my text text tool again, just draw from the beginning, to the end like so. I want it wide, and I just copy the title of the book. I'll do a save as. This is the title of the book. I will paste, no, without the plus. All right, I want it to carry my body text. All right, I want it in center, but I'm going to do something to it. I'll come here and then open type and then say I want all small text. I can reduce the font size too, maybe not something too much. All right, like so. And that will be on the left side of our book. How do you resolve the right side of our book? I can marquee select like so, hold down my alternate key or options on Mac, and then I held my shift as I'm dragging. The question is, why did I hold my shift as I'm dragging? I wanted to keep it on a straight line. Oh yes. So I will select the numbering. Let me move this up. Select the numbering and move it to this side so that I can flush right. Turn it to a text tool and then align right. Then I'll move this back to position. All right, but I want the chapters to show on the right. So what I've done is to delete this and then go back to my type menu, come to text variables. I will say define running headers, edit, and then I will select the style that I want. All right, that will be chapter title. I want the title of the chapters to show on the right side of the page. That's why I selected my chapter title. So I'll click OK, then I will insert. That's it. You click done. Look, it's not confusing. What I would just advise you do is to go over it again, watch the steps one by one, and you see that it's quite easy to navigate. Let me remove my baseline grid. Most of the time, once I'm done with it, I will usually remove it. It looks a bit confusing for me, except when I need to do some settings. So I mean, we're back on our page, and then the truth is that we are as good as done. I don't want to bore you, making you sit down while I go through all this. Look, you can see chapter 1 already has this, and without you having to do it manually, all pages are numbered. That's one of the things you enjoy with InDesign. Now, this is what we will have achieved if I'm supposed to sit down and then detailing go through, the whole book one by one. I mean, you see I brought an element from the cover. Let me show you the cover. I mean, this is the cover of the book. I mean, my client sent it in and all the options looks good, and I mean, very lovely, but this is the approved cover. So what I did was to pick an element from here and then take it via PDF to my InDesign. And look, if I put it in preview mode, that's preview mode is W, and we kind of go through the file, you see how everything is properly done. I mean, the dividers and then content page. You see, by the time you go to chapter 1, I reintroduce the element again. I just like to have a seamless flow between the cover and the inner. I believe this has been worth your time. If this has been meaningful, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the bell button so that when I upload another video, you'll be notified. Bye for now. Thank you.